Captain's Log, Guardian Chronicles, February 18th, 3309. V. Clara commanding. Hello again. Long time no see. Sorry. We are in the middle of our first overhaul at the GSC. Proper systems are being set up and processes are being streamlined. This, of course, has caused more than a few delays and more than a little bit of chaos. That having been said, we are still making progress on multiple fronts. It's just slower than I would like to admit. We are now able to partially read both alpha and beta, which seem to be reference point puzzle pieces for the confusing mess that we call gamma. We suspect that all three describe the same place, at least the larger layers. Gamma seems to be a regional reference, beta the reference within the system with its mechanics, and alpha is a description of the bodies in the system. The logs point out that they were made in clusters, and this is why at least the alpha ruins tend to be lined up with each other. In a lot of cases, exactly 5 line up with the markers, and the alphas also have 5 dial-type features that make us think there's a timing or sequence event of some kind. This number seems to make a solid connection with the beta complex as well, and we are finding several elements at beta that seem to connect it to both the structures and the drones. Speaking of which, after update 17, the drones themselves seem to be exaggerating their behavior and the sounds they make, so we took plenty of recordings to analyze. We've also taken specific note of their behavior. When I first looked at the Sentinels, it was hard to miss the diagrams scribed across its back, the most notable piece being the planet mark, which we found in pretty much every part of Guardian tech and we have documented extensively. But the most obvious thing that struck me was its resemblance to the Gunther's Quadrant, which is an ancient type of astrolabe, and the layout of the markings are also incredibly indicative of this navigational tool. The light patterns or sequence seem to enhance or connect dots across the back of this navigational tool, which we believe may possibly be some kind of navigational glyph. These patterns flash across all aspects, top and bottom, of the Sentinel's body. We do not know if this is indicative of a sequence of 5 steps, if it alludes to a 5-star system, or if it is a root number a lot of Guardian processes are built on. But all 5 steps repeat over and over again. We are comparing this to the flashing lights of the glyphs and the obelisks. We are also starting to investigate other examples of where the number seems to just pop up. For instance, on the wings of the beacons, there are huge sets of triangular carvings. These triangles, along with some lines that seem to dictate direction or flow, appear in groups on the larger set of wings. They have a diagramish geometrical underlayer, and what appear to be more of those pigmentation lines that we saw on the complexes. When we tried to compare these patterns to each other, we discovered to our surprise that there were exactly 5 different sets of the symbols, like a message being repeated, or a sequence being laid out. Perhaps a certain route you have to take, and these are the systems. We are still analyzing. The next place we repeatedly see the number 5 is at the Beta ruins. Beta appears to be a unique representation of an elliptical orbit in a binary system, with what appear to be system mechanics and course corrections displayed throughout. There are 5 equidistant struts on each side of this hexagon-shaped complex, which seem to line up with an opening on the smaller object at the bottom, which has 5 notches carved into it, almost like the gears of a clock. The larger object opposite has the same 5 notches, and both of them have 5 sides dictated by what appear to be outgoing wavelengths of something, separated by 5 spaces, both of which seem to increase or decrease in size or magnitude. The smaller object has what looks like small wake lines behind it, telling you which direction it is moving in and rotating. And it suggests that the first exposure is just a reflection from the larger object. The strange graph that we see in the bottom right of the complex, more evident with night scopes, has the exact same shape in the exact same dimensions as the bottom right corner of the gamma complex. The only difference is the symbols appear to be inverted. And of course, the most obvious example of the number 5 we see in the structures is the sticky hand complex, which has a long rail leading to a central point that breaks into 5 chambers full of obelisks. These obelisks are made in the exact same shape as the glyphs. The GSC has concluded, after much study, that the Lost Guardian area containing blueprints is not one of the clusters already recorded. and there are still 1 or 2 mystery locations that we could not identify from the Alpha Complex. Several experiments are currently in the works at the GSC, which was the main reason for the overhaul. We needed a modernized and clearly defined way to put the experiments on record and seal them for future reference. And yet somehow, in the midst of all of this chaos, my team has invented some new practical tools. Commander Grinning 2001, one of my top researchers, has developed an SRV tool, which is a third-party tool that can be used in the game. A video about this can be found in my feed on YouTube, with all of the links necessary to download and troubleshoot. This should give you a lot of advantages to surveying Guardian sites or collecting materials, so check it out. According to his report, this is not only for use with Guardian sites, but also has an extreme benefit for bioscanning as well as a few other gifts. It is incredible for mountainous regions because you can make the first pass in your ship and then transfer the information to your SRV or suit. For Guardian sites, the SRV has an interactive map tracking your position within the site, with the ultimate goal of surveying the ruins, cataloging which items and relic towers exist, and their positions and heading. He also reports that future versions will include obelisks and the items needed as it pertains to the data missions. The tool also apparently has a table of the known ruins, structures, and beacons, sorted from your current location, and tracks when you last visited each one. And I guess we will see what future developments for this tool hold. In the meantime, I have a lot more information, but I have run out of time for the day, so I'm gonna get back to it. Let me know what you think of the team's new toy. I will enthusiastically await your responses in my comments. This completes my report. We will keep you posted on our progress. This is Commander V. Clara, signing off. Kapla.